Hello, gang. This is Ryan from Mana Bluff.
And this is Mike.
We are finishing out the M14 set review. Here we are going to be lumping together artifacts and the lands. We'll go ahead and start with the commons and uncommons and then jump into rares and mythics of what we may or may not see. It'll be pretty quick. There won't be as much here. So right away, I'll jump into a Quarter's Shield. It is a 0 casting cost artifact equipment for uncommon. And then the equipped creature gets +0/+3 and has vigilance. And the equip cost is 3. This is a defensive card. It is nice that it doesn't cost anything to cast, but you have to equip for 3. I'm not anticipating a deck where I'm highly planning on having a very defensive card like this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, one nice thing about equipments is you get to move them around. It's not just one creature gets that. You can put it back and forth. And for 3 equipment cost, that's pretty cheap.
Yeah,
you know.
True. I mean, grants vigilance.
Yeah, and that's the vigilance is really nice because then you can attack in, keep a guy untapped, put it on another dude that maybe wasn't able to attack, and then beef that guy up. It's definitely versatile enough. I can definitely see this seeing some play. It's just not going to be a super high pick.
Not particularly interested in playing it all too often, but it's there.
But I can definitely see myself putting in a deck and surprising some people with it and kind of getting them because they weren't really prepared for it.
Mm-hmm. What's next though is Bubbling Cauldron.
Oh,
we've had some references
heard about this guy.
to the Cauldron with the Witch. It's an uncommon artifact. It's cost 2. With the 1 and tap, sack a creature, you gain 4 life. Or 1 and tap, sack a creature named Festering Newt. Each opponent loses 4 life, and you gain life equal to the life lost this way. Once again, those kind of cool little combos going on. Nothing particularly interesting. Or particularly good, I guess, in a limited environment. It's a super casual. If you build your casual deck to have that theme, then you'll have fun.
It's fun. It's super sweet flavor, but the Witch isn't worth playing. Even if you have all the pieces that you get this in limited in the draft, you don't care.
And you're never going to get all the pieces.
Yeah. Next we have Darksteel Ingot, which is a 3 casting cost artifact. It's uncommon. It is indestructible. Don't know how relevant that is in this format, but there you go. And if you tap it, you add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So this is pretty cool. This is where at uncommon we're seeing some fixing and some ramp.
That's awesome.
So if your deck wants it, cool, grab it. And not a lot of decks are going to be needing this. So even though it's uncommon, maybe the drafter who's trying to brew something sweet can be able to pick one of these up and draft and get there.
It's cool to have to have a colorless kind of fixing.
Yeah. So definitely a good card if that's what you want.
Exactly.
And I'm definitely happy to pick this up if I get a pack and my colors are there's nothing really great. I'll be like, well, I'll cut this from someone and maybe play it for value if it just works out. So.
Or maybe even some ramp.
You never know. So cool. But I'm only looking to highly pick it when I get to that point after the first pack and I know I'm doing a rampy, greedy deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love how you describe it as a rampy and greedy. And we also have the another what is that? Another
artifact?
Another artifact? No, another artifact we've seen before. The Elixir of Immortality. It's yet another uncommon. It costs 1, and its ability is 2 and tap it. You gain 5 life, and you shuffle Elixir of Immortality and your graveyard into their owner's library. Anti-mill tech.
I would only bring this in against Jace. What else could you possibly think of using it for? The gain 5 life isn't super relevant. We haven't seen it to really care in life gain deck,
exactly.
Unless someone's going super deep. And then again, by all means, let them do that, and that could be really fun, just for shizzles and giggles. But for the most part, I'm never seeing this. There's not a really strong.
There's no point in playing it,
right? Yeah. We actually have a land thrown in here because again we're just lumping these together. So we have an uncommon land, Encroaching Wastes. It taps to add 1 mana to your mana pool, 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, or has the ability to pay 4 and tap it to sacrifice Encroaching Wastes to destroy target non-basic land. So we have land hate. I know that a Magic tends not to like to have a lot of land destruction.
Yeah.
But this one's pretty specific. It's non-basic. You're not going to see a lot of that in this format. So for limited, this is pretty much an unplayable card.
Yeah.
You don't really need to destroy a non-basic land in this format because this is the only non-basic land, and it's worse than the color lands.
Yeah, it is by far.
They put this in the for limited,
Yeah.
for constructed.
What is somewhat cooler is the Fire Shrieker.
Yeah.
It's yet another uncommon artifact.
Yeah.
It costs 3 to play and costs 2 to equip, but the equipped creature has double strike.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. I'd play this.
Oh yeah. This has enough of a power level upswing that it's super important.
Oh, yeah.
And with equip being only 2, easy to put it on an attacker you want to get a huge threat attacking in, and then to move it over for
Onto a
defense
blocker,
to a
yeah.
2/2 defender. You know what I mean? Or not defender, but a 2/2 bear. And start having a huge, upgrade your 2/2 to a sweet defender.
It's really awesome.
I think I would high pick Fire Shrieker, to be honest.
Yeah. Would you play multiple?
I would play 2 if I was short other playables. I think I only want 1 in my deck ever. But it's still good enough to where I don't mind having 2. It's just like you don't want to have just a bunch of equipments on the battlefield and no creatures to put them on, So you want to make sure you have, more going on than you're just drawing random artifacts. Because I've had that issue back in the day when I was deck building and didn't know as much what I was doing. I would, oh yeah, artifacts, cool.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I got nothing to put them on to. Bomber equipment, So
yeah, that's true.
But the first one, I'll pick highly.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be pretty sweet. Just being
double
able to
strike is just
double strike is awesome,
dude. Put this Fire Shrieker on one of the green creatures.
Oh yeah,
you're done. I already want to play green. Like, dude, it's insane.
Yep.
Put it on a flyer that can't get blocked, dude. You're just
you're golden.
You're
golden.
golden. Next, we have Millstone, which is a great sort of fun historical artifact. It costs 2, is an uncommon artifact, and you pay 2 and tap it for target player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard.
Yeah.
This is the first Millstone that we've seen in a long time in the core set, and it's the first mill strategy we've seen in M14, really, besides Jace.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because it's the only card that does this, and it's at uncommon, you're never going to have enough of these to make a dedicated deck to this.
You're not going to make a dedicated mill deck, but you can build a controlling deck, and if you have a control deck and you're able to get one of these in your deck, you play it. Because it's your alternate win condition.
I guess I can see that.
Yeah, you have a bunch of defenders, and you take the game. It'll take a little while.
I think I would only do that if I saw 2 of these millstones and I had 2 in my deck. Because if you only have 1, you could be, unlucky, and it could just be in the bottom 10 cards of your deck. Take forever to get there.
Yeah, but that's why it's an alternate win condition.
I guess. I would still rather have a more powerful spell in there, and not have just some random. Oh, if I get it out, I can kind of get there. If it was like Jace and just won you on its own in a turn or 2, great. But I mean, you're only doing 2 cards a turn. That's in essence, that is like you're starting an opponent's separate life total on a whole separate area. I get it. That's what an alternate win condition is. Yeah. But I think 1 in a deck isn't going to be powerful enough. You're going to be sinking mana into it, and I mean, you can mill the person 20 cards and then still not get there. You need a quicker clock, in my opinion.
Okay.
I would still pretty much never play it unless I happen to pick one up early, and then they just get passed around, and like you're the only one snatching them up, and then you have like 4 in the deck. You're like, all right, I'm doing it. Stuff.
Yeah, no, all right.
But that is a corner case I do not anticipate seeing a lot of.
Fair enough. What's not a corner case that you will probably see a lot of that you probably don't want to play is the Rod of Ruin. It costs 4, and it's 3 in tap. Rod of Ruin deals 1 damage to a creature player. Never play it. I
mean, the ability is powerful. It's a pinger. Anything that pings is really powerful, but it costs way too much.
Yeah.
It costs 4 just to get on board, so you're wasting an entire turn to make it, to create the artifact.
Yeah.
And then 3 and tapping it means you can't even do it repeatedly a turn, and you're paying 3 every turn. Yeah, it's just way too expensive. Don't play this card.
Nope. We've got Shimmering Grotto.
Oh, cool. So here we have Shimmering Grotto. It's a non-basic land. There's another one, so there you go. You can tap it to add a colorless mana to your mana pool, or you can pay a colorless and tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So this is just nice in order to get some fixing on board.
Anti-ramp, but fixing.
Yeah. Nice thing is it doesn't enter the battlefield tapped, so you can at least use it for colorless mana right away. And so if you're looking to get a little greedy, as I am wont to do with my splashes, Shimmering Grotto can help you out quite a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Yeah, I mean, you might want to play it. It's okay. It's not particularly exciting, but nonetheless. What we've got is a Sliver Construct. A 2/2 Sliver Construct for 3. It's artifact. It doesn't have any of the cool sliver abilities, but it gets benefited by any and all of the sliver abilities.
And it's a common, right? Yeah.
Yep, it's a common.
Cool. So this is just seated there specifically for the sliver deck.
Yep.
For someone's doing sliver, it allows them to get more sliver count on.
Yep. If in some way your draft went terribly wrong, and you started drafting funky, and your colors are all over the place, sometimes you might just need a 2/2 for 3.
2/2 for 3. That used to be great. I mean, we've gotten spoiled with our 2/2 for 2 bears, but well, if you need a 3-drop, this will do it.
Yep. And
next, we're gonna look at the cycle of the staffs. This replaced the Lucky Charms that used to be there. If you know what Lucky Charms are, look them up. But we'll start with the Staff of the Death Magus. Magus.
We can probably combine all of them.
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, they're all the same but for their respective colors. So this Magus is whenever you cast a black spell or a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. So there's one for each color. Flame Magus is for red, Mind Magus is for blue, Sun Magus is for white, and Wild Magus is for green. Am I saying Magus correctly?
Magus? I don't know. I have no clue.
The staffs.
The staffs. You don't ever want to play them.
Never play them. They are, a way to gain life if you're trying to do the life gain thing.
I mean, it's also cool that you gain life on a forest or a mountain or whatever.
For a land as well as a spell, so that you're getting some.
You still don't want to be playing them.
But you don't want to take up a card in your deck for this. You want something more impactful.
No.
Which brings us to our last artifact in common or uncommon.
It's uncommon. Vial of Poison. It costs 1, and sack Vial of Poison. Target creature gains death touch until end of turn. Super flavorful.
Yeah.
I mean, a removal spell, kind of. It's the kind of threat of activation.
Yeah, it'll be kind of fun. I'm going to see how that plays out. I'm thinking about it across the table for me, going, shoot. So any of those, you can. I mean, it's a 2-for-1 for yourself when you're playing it, but still you're upgrading any
of your creatures.
So as soon as you get an outclassed 2-drop, you get this guy down later, and you can invest this mana in your first turn if it's in your opening hand. Or it's really easy, I think, because it's 1 to create and 1 to activate with the sacrifice. I think it's really easy to find that open 1 mana to get it on the board. Therefore, I think it's pretty cool. I'm not going to high pick it, but I'm going to be happy to have it.
I think. Would you play it in almost? I think you might even play it in almost any deck.
I would, yeah. If I'm seeing there's just not a strong card in my base colors or a base something, or if I'm just like I've been drafting black, I don't know what my other color is.
This is like a super 23rd card.
Not even super 23rd. I think you're going to be playing this if you have it.
Yep.
It's just you're going to be picking it up in a very interesting way during the draft.
Yeah.
Because it's just I think it's good.
Yeah. I think so too. I kind of like it. I mean, just being the threat to be able to upgrade any and every one of your creatures.
So on the commons or the commons and uncommons in land and artifacts, I'm thinking there's those 2 equipments that we saw, the double strike and then the possible.
They're all uncommons is the thing. There's only 1 common artifact and it's the Sliver Construct.
Yeah, and there's a common land, and then I'm thinking like the Shimmering Grotto.
Oh, that's uncommon. Yeah.
I think Shimmering Grotto's common.
No, Shimmering Grotto's uncommon.
Oh yeah, was the other land common?
No.
Gosh, yeah. So we only have that one.
The one uncommon. The one common.
But I'm basically in those 2 equipments, the Shimmering Grotto and the Vial, and then maybe the Construct, the Sliver Construct. So just little things to think about as little parts you can see in the set. Let's see if there's anything sweet in the rare or mythic rares.
Artifacts
and lands.
Alright, and our first either rare or mythic artifact is the Darksteel Forge. Now it's mythic. It costs 9. Artifacts you control are indestructible.
That's all it does.
That's all it does.
So this must be for some other format that is not limited. Because for 9 mana, it's A, never being cast, and B, it does nothing.
Yeah.
We just saw how little artifacts we wanted to play were there, and none of them we cared if they were indestructible.
Yeah.
So I don't know what format that is, but it's a format I don't know.
If we're bringing, affinity to standard, but that's not happening.
Let's move on.
Door of Destinies. Cost 4. It's a rare. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, put a charge counter on Door of Destinies. Creatures you control of chosen type get +1/+1 for each charge counter on Door of Destinies. It's kind of cool.
I think it's going to be in the Sliver deck, and that's it. I don't think there's enough creatures that are similar types to really build a solid deck. I mean,
there's a bunch of beasts.
Get some beasts. You might have a couple of dragons, but
humans.
There might be some humans or knights or whatever, but they're not going to be enough to warrant a card in and of itself, in my opinion, except for slivers. But hey, maybe you first picked
There's a lot of humans.
You think? I didn't count them. I'd have to go back and
count. White humans, there's a lot.
I'd have to count.
Yeah.
But I'm sure this is here because of slivers.
Yeah, that totally.
And if that does be the case, I'm totally down to be aware of this. I'll have to go back and look at what other creature types there are because of this rare, and then kind of like pay attention to what that is.
All right.
Next, we have Guardian of the Ages, a 7-mana artifact. Now, it's an artifact creature golem. So it's the creature stats are 7/7 for 7, so it's huge, and you can almost make big for 7 mana. Especially in colorless, that's a pretty good deal. And this golem has Defender. Not awesome. But something more interesting. When a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, if Guardian of the Ages has defended, it loses Defender and gains Trample. Holy moly. Notice there's no finishing until end of turn statement.
Exactly.
And that just means you pay 7, play this guy down, and if your opponent can't kill you right now, with you having this huge beefy defender up, you're swinging back for a 7/7 trample.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want in a 7-drop, and it's colorless. It doesn't matter what deck it's in.
Every deck. This is a sweet card.
Oh, this is a really good card.
Certifiable bomb.
Super cool. Now this comboed with the Darksteel Citadel, maybe then I care.
Maybe then.
Although, again, if you're playing this 7-drop, you probably already won the game.
Yeah,
I don't think you need a Citadel to keep it indestructible.
No.
But fun to know.
Some other cool artifacts. It's the Haunted Plate Mail. This is cool. 4.
Yeah.
Costs 4. It's rare. It's equipment. You equip a creature. Equipped creature gets +4/+4. All right, cool.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit more. It costs 4 to equip, so not cheap.
Yeah, it's 8 mana to get it onto something.
Yeah, exactly. But it also has this cool 0 ability. That until end of turn, Haunted Plate Mail becomes a 4/4 spirit artifact creature that's no longer an equipment. Activate this ability only if you control no creatures.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Just great versatility. You pay 4, get it on the battlefield. If you don't have any other creatures, you get a 4/4 spirit. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And then if you have creatures, then you equip it onto whatever you have on the battlefield, and it's huge.
Yep.
A little expensive though, because if you do have creatures, which in limited you're going to, it's going to take 2 turns to get it onto something because of other. I mean, you're not going to have 8 mana, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly first picking this over some premium commons or uncommons, but I'm definitely happy to have this card.
I mean,
in my deck.
The cool part about this card is that it doesn't run into the problem like you were talking about of having the equipment but nothing to equip it with. If you don't have a creature, and the cool thing is it's an instant speed 4/4. If they decide to attack and they're not necessarily reading the card, you're like, oh, block. That's
true. Pay attention to this, guys. If this is on the battlefield across from you and it is able to be activated, it's not like the equipment has to become a spirit at sorcery speed. It can be an instant.
Yep.
As long as they have no creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. But I definitely like it. It's super sweet flavor. Haunted Plate Mail, so
it's
cool.
It's pretty cool. We're skipping over the Millstone because it's uncommon in the set. Mutavault. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, this is an amazing card. So this is a rare land. You tap it to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, so it's utility. You can play it. Also, though, this is where it gets really sweet. You pay a colorless for Mutavault becomes a 2/2 creature with all creature types until end of turn. It's still a land. So this is great by itself no matter what because you're getting a 2/2 creature in your land slot.
Yeah.
So it's an extra value creature. That's just amazing, and that alone just makes it playable and you grab it.
Yeah.
What's more exciting is that this is in a sliver set. So it's going to become a sliver if, it's become a sliver. It's become all creature types, but that means all the sliver bonuses get pounded onto this dude.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Also, that with the beast, Advocate of the Beast.
Yeah, you can
it'll start getting counters on it
if you're able to do that at the time. I think it's a little more fringe scenario, but still definitely.
Yeah, nonetheless.
I'm just more excited about turning Mutavault into a 2/2 sliver that happens to be in a sliver deck. Then
that happens to have haste and trample and is
for
a
strike and
5/5
flying and everything it does.
And lifelink and all those things.
Because that's a dream, but they'll be relevant.
This one,
but how highly do you pick Mutavault?
Oh, super highly. It's worth
first
money.
Pick it. But in terms of gameplay, I mean, again, it's a value just on its own.
I mean, it keeps you open. It's pretty sweet. Like if nothing else, you do have that land. Yeah. I mean, it's a creature land. So granted, it is only a 2/2, but It's a 2/2 for 1.
I still think I think you would first pick it because of that value of having a creature land slot, and you just know not to be super greedy on your splash because you're gonna have to be playing a colorless land.
Yep, exactly. No, I totally agree. Like, there's a lot of value that you can get out of it.
Yep. That's the only reason why you might pass it if you open it later, because you've already kind of committed to like a 3-color or a really heavy, strong splash.
Yeah. But nonetheless, what we do have coming up next is pretty sweet, though. It's the Pyromancer's Gauntlet. Cost 5. Obviously, it's an artifact. It's rare. If a red instant or sorcery spell you control, or a red planeswalker you control, would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage +2 to that permanent or player instead. It's not equipment. It's just an artifact that hangs out there.
You think it's sweet?
No, I thought I misinterpreted it. I thought it doubled the damage.
Oh, okay.
Because that would have been cool. But this is not particularly exciting, actually.
This is just a fun Chandra flavor for. It looks cool, and the set is like showcasing Chandra, and that's it.
Yep.
But I'll never play this.
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean,
matter.
all
and
it does
only
is
in a
add
red
2
deck.
damage. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
What we do have, though, is Ratchet Bomb.
Ratchet Bomb. This is a good card, especially against a token strategy, which we didn't see really a major token theme at all in this deck.
No.
There was that fungus guy that sprouted stuff. I think there's even
a couple elementals.
There's a couple sliver tokens that made, but nothing to really worry about it. Because that's where Ratchet Bomb's like. Let me explain what Ratchet Bomb is. It's a 2-mana artifact, and when you tap it, you put a charge counter on Ratchet Bomb. Otherwise, the other activity is you tap and sacrifice Ratchet Bomb to destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on Ratchet Bomb. So I was saying about tokens, which have 0 converted mana cost, you can play this, play 2 out of nowhere, tap, sack it, and then you clear your opponent's tokens out of the way.
Yep.
Still doesn't matter. This is going to be a fine removal spell, versatile. And the more you know about your opponent's deck, the more you can plan it. You kind of see what kind of threat, kind of slowly start ticking it. If you need to get rid of a bomb that you know might be coming down later, keep it at a low range. It's going to take a little bit of experience to play with it, and it was in Standard and Mirrodin recently. I didn't play with that, so I don't have the experience, but once you kind of know how to kind of gauge around it, I think it's going to be a nice versatile removal spell.
I mean, it is. It's definitely a removal. You can pick it up because you can choose what you hit. At the same time, you can, in some ways, you can choose what you hit. In other ways, you kind of can't because it'll kill your converted mana.
You have to be aware of that too. Yeah, if you want to get rid of your
your opponent's Garuk, it's also going to kill your 6-drops.
Yep. So
as well. So
be aware.
Exactly.
I think though, again, with that experience in playing, you'll be able to make it valuable for yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. Plus, it's also once again that kind of threat of activation. You know, your opponent has a really sweet 3 or 4 drop. You tick it up to 3. You tick it up to 4, and you just sit there and you're like, "What you gonna do?
You gonna play that? Well, I just beat you down with my 3 drops."
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. What we've got next is the Ring of 3 Wishes. So, unlike, these are much better rings.
No, it's a ring.
Cost 5. It's a mythic. The Ring of 3 Wishes. Enter the battlefield with 3 wish counters on it. Surprise, surprise. 5, tap, remove a wish counter from the Ring of 3 Wishes. Search your library for a card. Put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. Repeatable kind of find a card.
Yeah, but this card is horrible. It costs 5 to just get out on the battlefield, and then another 5 to activate it to go get that card. Now, and then the card goes into your hand.
Yeah.
I think that's horrible. If it was to go onto the battlefield, you could play that card right away. Fine, worth it. But 10 mana just to go get your first card, and then you have to also still cast it. Yeah. I think it's like Diabolic Tutor, where you have to know you already have bombs going down. And if you're picking this mythic, you're not picking a bomb. Do you know what I mean? You're passing a bomb. Yeah. So maybe you pick this up late because it's tabled.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you end up finding, oh gosh, I have these sweet bombs. I'm going to play this control deck. But it's so expensive. I don't think it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, it's not particularly exciting.
Yeah.
Something that might be kind of exciting, though, is the Stoic Resonator. Cost 2.
Stoic? The Strionic.
I don't know how I said Stoic.
Yeah.
Whatever. Strionic Resonator. It costs 2. It's an artifact, and for 2, tap, copy target triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy.
I mean, this is a weird one. You'd have to research to see if it's even relevant. What triggered triggered abilities are going to be regularly and relevantly triggering that you want to be using this with.
Angel of Thune.
You're already winning if you have Angel of Thune. I don't think you need to have a strionic resonator to make that better.
The beast thing when at the beginning of your end.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it's just saying you have to go through. I think we have to go through each color to see that really matters in a color. And if there happened to be a color where a lot of creatures had that, fine. But I got a feeling there's not, because if every creature in a color had a bunch of great triggered abilities, that color would be insane. We'd already know that.
Yeah.
So I just got a feeling it's such a fringe case.
The blue flyer that makes other things fly.
Yeah. You know, there's definitely things that it works for, but
it's not particularly.
It goes back to limited and being it's not going to regularly be doing great stuff.
No, exactly. It's cool, and you might be able to do some cool things, but largely not so much.
I think it's fun, and I'm not going to lie, I'll probably pick it up in a draft because it is fun, and just be like, hey, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And try to just prioritize triggered abilities. So there you go.
Yep.
I do like the last card, yeah.
But not least.
It's our rare artifact called Trading Post, which we saw in the last core set as well. It's a 4...
core set before last.
Oh, it wasn't in M13?
It wasn't in M13, it's in M12.
My memory's so off.
I know, it's crazy. Wow. Can you believe how long ago it's been? No.
I thought this was last summer, but wow. Anyway, still love Trading Post.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Such a versatile, fun card, and the flavor is really cool too. So it costs 4 to cast. It's an artifact. And it has 4 different abilities, each costing a colorless mana and a tap. So, pay 1 to tap it and discard a card, you gain 4 life. Pay 1 to tap it, pay 1 life, put an 0/1 white goat creature token on the battlefield. I love the goats are back. Third ability is pay 1, tap it to sacrifice a creature, return a target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand, and then finally 1 tap, sacrifice an artifact, draw a card. Trading Post is just ultimate in versatility. Yeah. You can get into a fun little loop if you want, which is kind of the flavor of the Trading Post, getting at something for something else and using that to get something else, blah, 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 blah. But mostly it just really allows you to have some good options and recurring value out of whatever you have on board, and turning one resource into another.
Yep.
And it's all about resources.
Oh, Trading Post is awesome. Like I mean, I would gladly pay 1 life and tapping Trading Post to create not infinite chump blockers, but my goats.
Yeah, that's really the key ability there. Pay a life to have a chump blocker against a 3/3 that's bashing that you can't block yet. You're basically saving 2 life every turn with it.
Exactly.
That was like one of the best abilities.
Exactly. Plus, hey, sometimes you do just need to gain 4 life by discarding.
Yeah, sometimes that works. That's great.
I mean, sometimes you don't need those lands.
What's the thing? You draw a land you don't care about, you discard it, gain some 4 life. Boom, done.
Exactly.
So, I feel like that
concludes the rares of the lands and artifacts.
Cool. And that concludes our set review for M14. But before we completely sign off, why don't we go back and think, now that we've seen every card in this set, what do we think? What are the colors we're looking to draft? Let's not spend forever on this, but initial thoughts on what's going to be great.
Just initially, red-green looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Red-green slivers looks pretty awesome.
Definitely, if you're doing the sliver deck, you want to be red-green. I agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. Red-green slivers, just red-green in general is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Red-black, that looks pretty sweet. Much like you said, that blue-black kind of aggro tempo-y kind of deck that looks pretty cool.
Normally there's a lot of colors.
Yeah, I know, but there's a lot of decent black 2-drop pairs.
Yeah.
And then you follow those up with the 3-drop blue flyers.
Yeah.
And a couple of them that give you 2-drops flying. You can get some damage in. I still think mono black's going to be a thing. There's a lot of really good black cards that there's one at common, there's one at uncommon, and there's one at rare that care about the amount of swamps that you want, all of which are good.
Yeah.
And then if you are playing mono black, that's the kind of person who's going to be getting those cards anyway.
Yeah.
So it could end up working out. White is the weakest color.
Totally agree.
White is the weakest
for sure.
Actually, let's rank this. Strongest color to weakest color. White is I guess I literally said strongest to weakest, and I said white's the weakest color. I think white's the weakest color.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the strongest color might be green, followed by red, then black, blue, white.
Yeah, so it's in opposite order.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think there's an argument to switch red and black, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's an argument. I think red and black are very close.
Yeah.
But overall, I'd say green, red, black, blue, white.
Yeah.
Which hurts me that my blue white is just so weak.
I think, in all honesty, I think there might be the potential for black to be better because of how many synergies it has just with itself.
Also,
and potentially even with the other colors than just red. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also a lot of times in a draft environment, the really good color but not the strongest color ends up being the best color to be drafting because everyone is going to find out, dude, green is this awesome curve, and everyone's drafting green.
Exactly.
And then there's no green ever.
Yeah.
So that could end up. So that's something to look out for.
Yeah.
But I totally agree. White's just being the worst. It's a support color. There's obviously some great spells individually there, but I'm not looking to be base white.
No.
I really, really like green red. You said that was a good combo. I agree. Mainly because you have absolutely insane creature curve in green with a really great support red creature curve with those really powerful 3/4s.
Yeah.
And on top of that, red getting you the removal spells you need. Red has 4 premium removal spells. We talked about that in the red review. Better than black, when normally black has comparable, if not better, removal.
Yeah.
I think red is just going to be so key with all that great removal. So if you can get red-green online, you're going to be so good with your creature curve and your strong removal spells.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That being said, red-green.
Yeah.
But look at black-red. That removal suite is.
Black-red I think has always been a very strong color combination, and with all those removals going there, so I don't think that is new. And it's always something you should be aware of. But I think it tends to be where you get it because of that. Because everyone is looking to get one of those colors on board because of their removal. And if you're happen to be open in red and black, then dude, you are sitting in the right pod.
Oh yeah.
Not to negate it all, but yeah, it is nice, and there aren't that many holes in those colors, so that's kind of cool. The problem is red, black doesn't have as much of the beef in the creatures.
No, that's very true.
They're there, but it's not like you have these insane numbers of great flyers that blue has to be getting in, or with green having the really extra amount of power level.
Well, what the red black deck has to be, much like the color combination is, it has to be very much in the kind of like that Rakdos-y type mentality.
Yeah,
you're attacking.
Yeah, it has
you're
to
attacking
be 2s and 3s.
You're attacking
burn, removal, burn.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all it can't. It can't be any there. You can't have that kind of potentially control-y type red black deck because it just doesn't exist with these colors.
So for my first draft at F&M this Friday, I'm definitely going to be looking to go green with something else, ideally red.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to when blue-black is open to see if I can get that aggro blue-black on, just because it's a color combination you never would think is aggro.
So that's what I was just about to say. What do you want to see? Like, what's your not even
accomplishment unlocked?
Yeah, exactly. Accomplishment achieved. Yeah.
I know what yours is, but mine is definitely blue-black aggro.
Okay.
Specifically blue-black aggro. It has to be. How did I lose on turn 5 to blue-black?
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah. Okay.
And yours I'm going to call is mono-black.
Yeah. That's without a doubt.
Cool.
Sweet. When it happens, it's going to be sweet.
Yeah. I think that's all I have to say for initial impressions.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking forward to start the draft season off.
It's going to be sweet. It's going to be a nice. It's going to be nice to get away from the craziness at times of the Return to Ravnica block.
Yeah, it should be super simple, fun. Get back to basics. I like core set drafting. I know a lot of people scoff at it. It gets a little too simple, but I think if we learn anything from M13, you can have some really good draft environments in the core set. We'll see if that holds true for M14 as well.
Really quick, one final thing. Impressions in terms of the speed, at least initially.
Initially, I don't know. Let me think.
I don't see the same aggressive type archetypes.
I don't know.
By all means, I don't think it's slow. I don't think it's as fast as potentially M13 was. I think it'll be slightly slower, maybe a turn or two slower than M13.
I'm gonna go with not an answer. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna call that out right now. I don't have any good reasons as to why I feel like it's a little bit slower. I just kind of have a sense about it, you know. But then that being said, like, I still could see like a really nice aggro deck being put together. But yeah, maybe because the 2-drops are fine, but not overpowered. I mean, there's a lot of 2-1s for 2.
Yeah.
There's actually very few true bears 2/2s. There happens to be 1/3/3, but that's like a card.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just think because the 2-drops aren't absolutely insane, we're not going to see much of that.
I agree.
Cool. So for everyone listening and going on a set review, hope you enjoyed it. We'll do a little longer of a full closeout here. So if you have comments or suggestions or anything you like, please leave them on our website, www.manabluff.com. You can leave comments or subscribe or like on YouTube. We check those every now and then, but the best way to get ahead of us or get a hold of us is with comments. Or specifically say hey to us. My name's Ryan.
And I'm Mike.
You can find me, Ryan, on Twitter at __RJH, or say hey to me on Moto. I'm RJH on Moto.
Yep. I'm at Ost_Mike on Twitter. And on Moto, I'm Schlocknock, SCHLOCKNOCK. Might be playing me. I might be recording, and we might end up, and you might see yourself on the draft.
That would be fun.
Yep.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Have fun with M14.
Oh, because I know we will.